You guys wanted more Catan content? I am going to be giving you more Catan content. It's your boy Shades playing a Colonist Auto. Um, what the heck? Why am I lagging? Getting a little bit of stuff. Oh, you know what it is? I think I disabled hardware acceleration on Chrome. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. I was getting errors before, and I think it might have been because they finally pulled the plug on trying to remember what it's called. Yeah, I think they finally pulled the plug on what's it called? A lot of the see how much smoother that is. I don't know if you guys can tell on camera. They pulled the plug on the auto blocks, like the ad block stuff, which I think kind of like was causing a bunch of crashes with Chrome. But hey, regardless, you know what? We're placing second here. Lovely little Colonist Auto game. Hope you guys are having a good night or morning or wherever you are. But yeah, we're gonna be playing a game here. And we are going to be placing in second. So we see Black is first, playing as Mr. Jabaz. Love Mr. Jabaz here. And where do you go as first, right? You got a bunch of options. I think this is an okay pick. You got 695. There's going to be a lot of wheat on the board. Although not too sure what's going to be available on the way back because we're going to be having to swing a little bit hard. Generally, when I look at this board, I kind of consider what my outs are going to be, right? So I think quite possibly this is not the order that it'll get placed down in, but I'm just going to throw this out here. It should be 8510, 843, 694, 8510 or 8510 plus 843. If somebody takes 854, that does consolidate the pick to the middle of the board here. I don't like leaving the 810 hanging because I think there is a very strong chance that it could be taken by Black as an out. Now, if you asked me what I would like to play, the answer I would provide to you would be 8-5-10. But given that this is an auto rank with likely no communication or table balance, that is not the play we're going to be making. Traditionally, I think the 6-9-4 is going to be safest because it locks a solo-owned wheat. Black could place on the 6-2 because of coordinated sixes, but I feel like the 8-10 is a direct upgrade to that. But that is going to be the associated risk that we play into placing there. What do we expect on the way back? I don't like this pick, to be honest with you. I love 8-5-10, but my outs to pair with that are just not good. So we got to run with our gut. I mean, 8-4-3 is not or 8-5-4 right, or 8-4-3 is not a bad alternative, but I'm going to play to what I think is going to be correct here. Granted, our port access is not the best, but I'm like just looking at what my worst case scenario is going to be. And it's probably going to be some degree of this or that or like this maybe. And I'm just like, it's not really a big deal. I just got to go production. I got to go or wheat sheep. Give me 1 second. I'm just got to do that. And okay, we're back. So. Whew. Yeah, so hope you guys, like I said, are having a good time. I think this game is going to be quite interesting. It's really going to come down to what we end up with here. Grant, I don't like second on this board, to be straight with you. I really don't. I think if you're looking for my preference on this, I probably like placing third or fourth here. I think 8-5-4 has a lot of merit, and I think it's a great pick. I just don't like the chance of that 8-10 getting sniped. And I know like traditionally in a normal game, or I say normal, but what I mean is a game where you have an organized play or like physically at the table, you know the players, 8-10 does not get taken in most contexts. I'd say 90% on this board. But here we go. We got the 8-5-10 going down. And I actually like fourth here. I think you got a little bit of flexibility. You could be fun and goof off as fourth and do 8-5-10, 8-4-3. But I think what you would rather do is some combination of 6-11-3 right here with that 8-4-3 or 8-5-10 and kind of play off the ports. Like you expanded the 4-11, you got your 3-1, your sheep port you're probably not using a whole bunch. But I like fourths out here. And I think what blue is going to be looking at is, well, it depends on the second pick here, but they're either going to be getting, no. I strongly disagree with this. So the mentality here is I own the 5 brick. I don't get blocked on the 5 brick because it's by myself. I own the 5 wood. Everybody's on the 5 wood except yellow. It never gets blocked. The concept is red is expecting to vastly expand his reach throughout the entire board based on a coordinated 5 roll. Unfortunately for him, with the board being as it is, my best pick is actually probably to cut him with this spot here on 3-11-10 and point toward the 9-10. Now, the issue with that is he just has to roll a 5 or 2, and I lose the 10-9 road settlement. So whereas this gives me the 3, and it does block out this 6 spot, regardless of if I go here or here, that's not going to block out this spot. Additionally, what I am highly considering, believe it or not, is actually just taking this 8-4-3 here. And I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I do have to think about it a little bit more. But because black is the only one left to place a settlement, I strongly believe what they will do is place outright on this spot 10-11-9 because it gives them the 9 that they have. And they're already pointing a road settle to a open spot. So whereas I do think if you're playing with an offensive mindset that you would go with this, but for those that don't know me and for those that haven't watched a lot of my games, we prefer to play full defensive even if it's not statistically proven to be the best way to win Catan. So with that concept in mind, we take the 8-4-3 on the right here. And we are going to be gunning for that 3-1. Of course, if we have the wood port in hand, we'll snipe it to stop blue, but that is not on our priority list. We are looking to play a side-by-side or wheat sheep setup with the flexibility of a road sneak depending on the development card. We vastly overproduce on wheat, but again, what we are hoping to do here, black will be taking the 11-10-9 because it opens the road settle spot to 6-11-3. And plows the player that makes strong coordinated wood brick. And it does not have to be me that does that. You'll never hear other creators talk about this, but in the colonist auto rank space, and I'm completely guilty of this too, because you're completely anonymous, nobody knows who the hell anybody is, you will have players do things that are irrational. You'll have players be mad, cuss other people out, throw games, because tempers flare. And when all you have are text messages with no penalty, no context, like Colonist is free. You can make a Gmail account in 1 minute and there's no requirements to queue up for competitive. There's not even a paywall. So what I'm trying to say is a social aspect to this is by placing here, that might piss red off. I mean, it probably doesn't, but it could. And forcing black to have to do that instead is a net gain for us as a player that, okay. I take back everything I said, but I don't agree with this at all. You're taking low wheat, you're doubling on your ore that you now overproduce, you've effectively made a dead settlement with this road, and you leave a huge 3-hex spot for red. So, and you never win this race. He's double pointing there. Like, you're going to expect to beat the player with coordinated wood brick when all you effectively make is ore wheat? I don't know, buddy. We're going to have to see. But, taking this makes black's odds go from the 25% and pushes red a lot higher and drops black to negligible. And we rolled 2 5s to start the game. So black is very quickly going to realize that by not taking one of these 2 spots, they've made red into an effective monster. Now, granted, we could have made that decision because we can't influence the other players. We can't make the decision for them. I could have very well taken one of these spots. But the issue with that, I find, is that you leave black with 8-4-3, which I'm going to take... Damn it. I needed to take that 2-1 when it sniped. Any trade that's asking for a wheat, we always take. But this is going to be a road settle for red. And it's so strong. And the crappy part is, guess what spots we share? We have 9 and 4. So because of black's poor placement, red is going to get off to an incredible lead. Red's best blocking spots are our primary spots. So what should have been a very safe and easy game is now going to be a little bit more difficult to... A little bit difficult to process here. If he doesn't have it quite in hand, he's going to be close to it. So that's what we're looking at, and that is my perspective on 2 minutes into this game. I love you guys, but I'm pretty decent when it comes to calling things like these. But again, that is where the offensive versus defensive mentality comes into play. I don't see the value of creating a dead settlement here as black and thinking that I ever win this road settle against a wood brick player. Like, to me, that's just kind of silly. But we always look for sheep here to get a dev, right? And if we get a sheep, great. If we don't, we look for brick. And if we get brick, we drop a road and hold. It's that simple. If we have no value, we hold. We wait for 4s to roll to drop our city. Otherwise, we're stuck. Yep, blue gets a really strong road settle. And I actually really love blue's settlement because later in the game, you're going to notice that they're going to be picking up a lot of cards. Their production's great. Their port options are great. We do see a 7 out from black. Hate to see it, but guess where that rob is going? It's going on the 9 or the 4 because now red is leading, and that is the only dual shared blocks when we need the 4 to roll to get our city. So, oh, okay. I mean, the 8 is a good block as well, and I do appreciate that. I'm actually kind of surprised that goes through, but okay. I understand it. If I'm black, I don't like hitting the 8 brick because then where am I getting my brick production from? I have to get it from a trade, otherwise I'm completely paralyzed. So to put this into perspective, unless black pulls a Monopoly, Road Builder, or Year of Plenty very early here, they're going to be ending this game on 5-6 points max. And that is a prediction that I can make as someone that's played this game thousands of times. It's just the way the board state has kind of shifted. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's always interesting to look at it from that kind of POV. But our hand is stuck, and we really don't want to be passing on 7, right? That is always a worst case scenario. Red's going to get greedy and ask for 2 cards. I think in this context we take it, because the unfortunate thing is if we pass on 7, we probably lose half our hand. I hate early VPs, and you guys know this. And I don't like popping in general, but he rolls into a 5 after we gave him a 2-to-1 trade. So this is looking like Red's game. And there is a chance that blue actually does the plow to the 3, because that gives them their only 3-to-1 port. And if we lose this 3 expansion, our game is essentially cooked. But early VPs are by far the worst development card in the game because it leaves you paralyzed with no options. You've effectively dropped 3 or more cards, in my case 4 cards, for an effective worthless point. Because remember, it doesn't matter what your current board state is, it matters how you're going to close out a game. And a VP does not help you close out the game until the last turn of the game. So I'm one of those people that hate pulling victory points. I know they're one of the most prized possessions amongst our community, but that's not me. That's not the way I see the game. But heyo, let's have some fun, right? We are a 4 roll off a city or a trade off a city. I think you city the 6-9-4 out of principle because the 8 is a dual shared block, and I mean the 9 and 4 is a dual shared block, but at least there's 2 options for that, whereas black has incentive to hit all the hexes, and red always hits this 8. So kind of like opening myself up there a little, even though I'd prefer the 8-4-3 city, because once you road settle here, the wood becomes a free card. So you essentially would burn the wood into a sheep, given our position on this one. But it's really weird, again, because blue is very much back plow. No, not a back plow. The player that makes no brick, that robbed it from the 7, drops a dead road that is most certainly going to be lost there to the 4-11. And we roll another 5. 5 is over rolling, but unfortunately, that is what is happening right now. Blue is desperate. Well, not desperate, excuse me. Blue is looking for an ore. You know, I actually don't mind this, because again, our hand is always stuck until we pull an action dev, or until we're able to trade into a road settle. So we pull Knight, which is obviously we would want an action card, but Knight is not bad here because it gives us flexibility to pluck a card we need to. But yeah, I gave him city here. I gave him a 1-to-1 city with the wood port, essentially turning blue into a little bit of a beast. We are over rolling this 5 like hell, man. And black actually does need to do the cut now. But the issue with black cutting this is that blue then cuts the 3. So it becomes a very... Yeah, I'm not giving you 1-to-1s here, dude. Like, me and black are dead this game. And it's all because of his pick, right? Like, again, like, obviously I gave a city trade here, but my hand is stuck. And the board state is just not there right now. Yeah, we roll an 8, which is like, whoop-de-doo. I'm just waiting for him to do this 3-to-1 cut. Because unless black can perform a 4-to-1 into a brick road cut here... Okay, they do it. But again, my problem is now he rolls a 5, 10, 8 into a cut here. So blue becomes a effective lead as a result of that. I'm going to try to get this trade across simply because if I can roll into a 4, it does open the city in hand as opposed to trying to trade for the city. No. What? Come on, brother. We are both behind here. Like, that does not... Man, how many 5s, yo? Even if he had cut this, red would still be in lead. I know blue is looking exceptionally strong right now, but where's your road competition going to be? Because it certainly ain't going to be with Mr. Orman over here. It's the second that red drops a settle here, they're going to get city. They have effective road connect. Yeah, I would be very surprised to see red lose this game. The way we have to get back into this game is pulling a monopoly into a very aggressive turn. But even then, I don't see that happening because our power rolls, the only roll we have left is the 4, and that's just not hitting right now. Oh, this is tough. It is tough. Yeah. And he's giving a 2-to-1 here to black. I don't know, man. That's what, a dev? Yep. I mean, he's going to get that dev and pounce it. And the issue is that he has to hit the 4 ore, which is our only power spot, because red's priority now is going to be getting cities after this settlement. They're going to be what we call settled out, right? They only got 5 pieces to utilize. You're giving me a second card here, or you're passing. There's no reason why I can't get 2 cards. If I'm giving you a point here, I need to get value out of this. I'm opening myself up for a 4. I mean, I understand my position's basically dead. Like I said, that VP sucks ass because I'm effectively on 2 points, and I got nothing better to do. He double cities, right? And here's your problem. The second one of us pull a mono, guess where all that ore is going? It's going in our hands, buddy. And you have no way to spend this ore because you took a 3 wheat and a port that does not work for you. And the shitty part is, I would have loved to have traded into that. But now I don't think it happens. And our hand is stuck unless we 4-to-1 the wood into a sheep. It is a not so nice predicament to be in, I can tell you that. We really need to roll a 4. And my issue here is that looks like we're going to be 4-to-1 popping. Alright, we really need an action dev, guys. Top priority is mono, second's Yop, third is RB, but we need something. Knight is not it. Knights and VPs with the least production on the board is going to fork us to the degree of us getting that 5-point game that I talked about. Because we're not going to be able to keep up with blue's production on army. I mean, and then players would look at you and be like, you got 3 down dillies over there. And I'm like, yeah, I make half your cards. So let's keep playing the game because I don't got a mono. Yeah, and again, the 4 block is always relevant because red now needs to get the city. And that is the only role that gives us an advantage over the other players on the table. So unfortunately, blue is going to be buying dev cards here if they don't have the cut to the 3. Their priorities are going to be cutting to the 3 for a possible road sneak, buying devs to get army because they have pacing on it. Let's see. No. Okay. I appreciate you very much, blue. Because I actually think that the 3-to-1 here is more valuable to them than the 9-10. And of course the 4 rolls as it's pinned when we need that 2 ore. But anyway, let me finish my train of thought. The 9-10, I understand the power of getting the sheep and the extra wood off the free card, but the 3-to-1 there provides them a lot more flexibility with the wood port and the 3 that they already make off the wheat. So I don't know. I really needed that 4 roll, though, by the way, because what that would have done is guaranteed us a dev with an aggro knight or not an aggro knight, a regular knight, or a possible city pluck. So losing that 4 roll as a result of red being lead really hurts us here. I think I robbed blue even though I like black's cards better, but I hit blue here because Woodport, triple share. I'm normally not one person to say that you should be hitting a triple spot, but in this context it's relevant because of Woodport. Nope. Alright, next time I'm robbing you for a sheep then, and I don't want to hear no complaints. 2 2s in a row. That's why you trade, brother, because you're going to get on Wheatport, and I make wheat. And again, this is why this game is a social in-person game. I throw a slightly passive-aggressive comment. His settlement makes no sense. I need an ore trade here, or I'm robbing you. What are you talking about? Yes, you could have. And blue doesn't even, like... Whatever. Alright. I'm going for my sheep pull. Yeah. I have to dev. That's all I can do. We got mono. Okay, we're back in. We're back in. Unfortunately, we have to use... So we have to use this monopoly on minimum city dev. And the unfortunate part is we're not going to have a port to effectively utilize that. I mean, I'm talking back and forth with black, a little bit of smack, but this is just poor placement. Because blue has potential to play road and army. Red is going to be forced to... yeah, red's going to be forced to play for road, but they have the flexibility for both. Their production's insane. Ideally, of course, again, we would have loved to get on a port. Here we go. We roll into a 4. We're on 8 cards. RB... Just take road, please. Yeah, like you don't have a knight to play, brother. Drop the road to connect. Okay. Like, I get his point. He doesn't make brick. But the thing is, when he settles and when I settle, we can work this out. We roll a 2. Okay. I would really love to get this city trade across without having to 4-1 wheat here. And if that means having to give up 2 cards, I will. Man, see, this is why I hate this. Nobody's willing to help the player that's on literally 2 points, and it really sucks. But I have to use all my cards to drop my own city. And what this means, though, guys, is we probably now have to roll into a 4, a little bit more wheat, and we have to use a mono to get 3 dev cards. And the sequence of devs that we need to have a chance this game is minimum 1 knight, minimum 2 non-knights with those 3 pulls. If we get 3 knights or 3 knights and VPs out of this mono, because again, I want to clarify, the mono has to be used on 3 development cards or more value here. We are cooked. We need to pull Road Builder, Yop, mono, at least one of those out of the 3 devs when we play it. Preferably 2 out of 3, but the odds of that are not great, given the fact that nobody else is buying knights. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and unfortunately, that's where the table direction is turning. But the fact that we pulled mono is, of course, great luck. But without a mono, I would resign. Not actually, but I would effectively resign, right? Road is not safe, another thing I want to clarify, and we do not want the robber on the 6, because that's 4 ore that we could effectively use on our Monopoly. I give this trade always, even though it puts black to effective 7 plus unknown, because that's a VP, obviously, with 1 down, right? So, Road is now going to have to swing, so we're going to have to hope for a fight. I can 4-1 the wheat into an ore and buy another dev, which I think I have to do given the pacing of the table. And I just have to hope for a better hand on the following turn, because I don't have a port to effectively utilize anything. So we're going to empty our hand out, get a dilly. We pull RB. Now, in this context, I would have preferred a knight, because what has to happen now is we're going to have to play the Monopoly to probably get 1 or 2 devs to defend army, because now these guys are going to be starting to pace that. Black with 1 VP. I'm going to throw that out. 2 open settles. So blue should be trying to fight road here. Yeah, and your second card, we don't know what it is. It could be another VP, and you could have 2 open settles for win. Black is not actually leading, by the way. But the way that they've paced the board now, they have road, and they have 2 down. But you know one's a VP. But how do they get these points, right? They have no port. Their setup is effectively worse than ours, because they're citied out, right? So blue is going to dread a double pop, which is smart, because they know they can fight army and road, because road is so loose. They have 4 down. They got 1 played. This is looking very good for blue here. Because they're going to play a knight next turn. We're not rolling cards because we just rolled 10 into 7, so we have nothing to monopolize. We really would have to roll into a sequence of like 4, 6, 9. Because that gets... Actually, yeah, so 9, 4... 9, 4, 6 would be our best sequence, because that puts the sheep and the ore on the table that we rob. Red is going army here. Oh my gosh. They're going to have enough to pop another card. We lose the largest army. And our game is super cooked from there. We pull the RB, which we're probably going to have to play for defensive purpose just to defend the 3 and drop the road to the 6-2. But we never get the settlements down before the game's over. What kind of joke is that? Yeah, army's lost here to red. Yep, and it's going to be an RB play. If we roll into a 9 or 6, we'll city pass, but blue is lead. I mean, not really, but, you know, I got to hit blue, I think. Yeah, I get the sheep. And it's very clear that I'm not lying, because I would have to play knight to claim RB before red does. So let's see if I can get this across. But now the table knows that I can't play a knight to claim army because I've revealed RB. And in an in-person game, that has more influence here, but online it does not. So let's see a knight get played by blue. And what is so incredible, ladies and gentlemen, is blue and red can both play road and army here, because this road is so loose. And he hits the 4. Again, the 4 is our only roll, and the reason they hit it is because it hurts red. So it's... And we see a 2 nons from red, which is good, but it's also bad because they monopolize all of our ore. And they buy the cards out, and this game's over. This game's over to red, as we called half an hour ago, because of this simple settlement. Because they're going to get city dev. Oh, they use that to get 1 dev and pass? Hello? Okay. I don't agree with that. Red misplayed that entirely. You never use Monopoly in red's position other to get a city, and then if you have excess, you pop. That's a possible losing play by red. It might not end up mattering, because they probably have knight VP, which puts them at 8, which means they just need a couple roads here to connect. But that is, in my opinion, a losing play by because look, he ports, so he stole 8, he gave the bank 3, took a wheat, and popped a dev. So there's 4 ore, right? Or am I dumb? Because that means that my only valid play here is to monopolize the ore back. That's all he did, right? Sonny stole 8 ore. Sonny gave 3 ore and bought it. So there's at least 4 ore. I don't understand, but yeah, we have to do this. We have to. I know it only takes 4 out of red, but we are an effective dead player unless we do that. Oh my god. And this is why I this is why I don't like Catan sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. That was the worst possible sequence of pulls that we could make. The worst possible sequence of pulls. Yeah, we're cooked. Oh, I would have literally preferred 3 knights there. I don't know what to tell you guys. I pull VPs when I don't want them, and everybody thinks it's cool, but it's literally the worst development card in the whole deck. It's dog. So, yeah, the player with road materials is going to get army this game and win. Oh, very frustrating. I wanted to upload you guys a dub, but when my pulls are like this, I can't do nothing. That's a VP by red. A couple roads to win here. I think we already rolled into a 5. That's probably it. Yep. So, guys, what did we say half an hour ago into this video? How many points was Black going to get? Wap-a-pa-pam, 5. We called that based on initial placements. So, what went wrong here? Well, let me first write a constructive, non-toxic comment. I just want to get perspective, because being as experienced as I am, I still want to understand, right? From the 695. Oh, he left. I'm not going to get a comment. But anyway, to reiterate, yes, Black placed first, we placed second, which means I could have done this and prevented this, but I can't make decisions for other players, and I still stand by the fact that I think 8-4-3, we have a very high chance to win this game if Black correctly picks the 10-11-9. And to reiterate before I end this, because this one was pretty short, it was a pretty short slaughter against us. Oh, hold on, this is the mid game. Let's skip here. To reiterate the issue, actually we can freaking rewind. I forgot that I'm premium on this account. All right, so to reiterate the issue of Black, let me go back to see if I can grab it right before his last placement. Okay, so Black is first. This is the board state. They are placing their 8th settlement down. We go 8-4-3 because it is the expectation that 6-11-3 on either of these spots can be road settled by blue and black. By placing 6-11-3 here as Black did, you not only create this spot as a dead settlement, you now only produce ore, sheep, wood that you cannot coordinate with any brick, and a terrible wheat hex. Your ratios are so poorly thrown off that you can't utilize a port because you now have no expansion. What are your ports going to be? The brick port? The fact that they won this wheat port only happened because they pulled a road builder with their first dev. So I would say 80% of the time, give or take, this cut never happens against blue. And they didn't even get the settlement down, to clarify, because of that, the misproduction. Whereas if I'm playing Black, yes, 6-5-9 is the correct pick in first, majority of the time. Pointing in, no, you point to 9-10, because this is, even though you're not using the port, still a good option. Eighth pick as black absolutely has to be 11, 10, 9. Why? You open up coordinated nines for development cards. You roll into a 6, you now have a sheep and a wheat that you produce. Yes, you do overproduce on sheep with this setup, but that is not a problem because you produce the highest amount of ore on the board. I produce no sheep. We're natural trading partners to this degree. You also produce opposite ore, opposite wheat, right? The other reason being, with 10, 9, 11, you actually have a playable port to the 3-1. Granted, it is a couple of roads off, but if you are taking 6, 11, 3 pointing right as black, you are never winning this game and never winning a port, regardless of if you pull even something like double Monopoly. I would put the 6, 11, 3 placement here, starting the game as black, with your odds being stacked maybe 5, 10% chance to win. Just being realistic, that's kind of where I looked at it. So here I am as gold. I can take 11, 10, 9. The reason I don't is because to me the flexibility of the 3-1 port is more relevant. But I'm not the one that produces a 6 ore hex with a 9 sheep hex. So kind of the way I feel like this game was lost, and you guys can go back to what I said at the very beginning of the game, is this initial placement, which is why it's so important. So red made a huge gamble that I don't think pays off in a different lobby with coordinated 5s. They used the Monopoly to purchase 1 development card and ported 3 ore, which again, if you're red, you use the Monopoly strictly for city value. So the sequence of devs there where we pull 3 VPs is the absolute worst case scenario as in our position. But that's not to say I played the game perfectly. Granted, we did not get any trades across, and I don't know if that was because of my lack of offering or whatever. But regardless of what the case is, this was just a rough experience. Hopefully you guys kind of see my little perspective on that, because I like to kind of give you like more blunt, quick responses rather than like analytical responses. I think people tend to like over analyze certain things, but in this case, I feel like that was just not great, not ideal. The sequences of things hoping as they did. But hope you guys enjoyed. As always, take care. Check you out next time.